Hi, I'm Dr. Charisse, and I want to thank you for joining us today on Recipes for Success. I have some very special guests cooking with me today. I have Terry McKinney, and I also have my daughter, Kari, my 8-year-old daughter, Kari. We're going to make some amazing dishes today, and I want to make sure that you're prepared to get these recipes. So make sure you get a pen and a paper and write these things down. You'll see the recipes come up on the screen. The first thing we're going to make is a quiche, and this I'm calling it Cheryl's quiche, because Cheryl is one of our members, and this is a quiche that she makes, and it's really, really good. The second thing we're going to make is we're going to make some donuts, some buttermilk donuts dipped in chocolate glaze and maple glaze. The third thing we're going to make is chorizo hash browns. Really, really good. So these are some things we're going to make, and this is for our New Year's breakfast. So stay tuned. We want to see you back in just a minute. Do not turn the channel. Well, we're back in the kitchen. Hopefully you got everything you need to get these recipes down. First, we're going to start with the quiche, and then we're going to go with the donuts. So, Terry, what do we have here? What are we mixing together?
We are doing a spinach and broccoli quiche today with a little shredded cheddar cheese.
Okay, and so how many eggs do we have there?
This recipe, we're doubling it, so normally you use 6 to 8, but we are using 16 eggs.
Okay, so we're going to whisk the 16 eggs up and get a nice strong whisk going, mix them all together. Go ahead, you can do that. And what you want to help, Kari? And while we're doing that, we're gonna go ahead and get it all mixed in, add salt and pepper to taste, and then I'll add the other ingredients. Now there's so many things you can add to the quiche. This is Cheryl's recipe, and she likes, and I like her recipe as well, spinach and broccoli. So what are some things that you like to add in your quiche?
Oh, I like a meaty quiche, so I like ham and bacon and
you like a protein quiche,
yeah,
okay?
Protein
so we got the eggs that are protein, but you like a super duper protein quiche. Today we're doing a vegetarian quiche. So we're mixing all these things together, and she's gonna get all the eggs mixed in, and then they'll add the spinach, which is, I believe it's frozen spinach, and this is frozen broccoli in this particular recipe. I prefer to use fresh if at all possible, so if you make it at home, you can substitute. Instead of using frozen spinach, you can use fresh, and instead of using frozen broccoli, and these are organic ingredients that we're using here today, you can use fresh broccoli. How much broccoli and how much spinach are we using for this double recipe?
We are going to use 2 small packages of each.
2 small, okay. All right, and then we've got cheddar cheese. You can add whatever kind of cheese you like, whether it's, you know, jack cheese. That would be really good, a little spice to it, like pepper jack cheese or Monterey jack cheese or cheddar or mozzarella, whatever kind you like. But today we're using cheddar cheese. So they're going to add all this together. Actually, let me give you a spoon here in case you want to mix all that in. We're going to add all of the ingredients together and leave a little bit of cheddar cheese on the side to put on top of the quiche when before they put it in the oven, okay? While they're doing that, I'm going to go ahead and I am going to begin to make the donuts, okay? So the first thing we're going to do is take 4½ cups of unbleached flour, okay? We're going to add 1 cup of, I guess, sugar, but I think what we'll do is, let me see. We'll add the sugar. That's about 1 cup of sugar. We'll add the baking soda and the baking powder, and you can look at the measurements on your screen. Baking powder, baking sugar, baking sugar. Well, it is baking sugar. And then we'll add some nutmeg, all right? And smell and see if the nutmeg is strong enough. If it doesn't really smell like it's got a good scent to it, add a little bit more. It's probably a little old. You can add a little bit more to it, or definitely make sure you kind of keep it fresh, okay? So we've got our flour, we've got our sugar, we've got our baking soda, we've got our baking powder, and we're going to add a little bit of salt. Usually I don't like to add salt to sweet things, but we'll add a little bit of salt, all right? And we're just going to kind of stir that up a little bit. Looks like they're coming to a close on their quiche. Looks good. They're mixing everything in. They'll be putting it in those pie crusts pretty soon and putting just a little bit of cheddar cheese on it. All right. And they're going to put that in the oven. How long is that going to cook in the oven?
We're going to cook these for about 40 to 45 minutes at 375.
Okay. And then we just, now I like my quiche warm. How do you like yours?
Yeah, I like it warm.
You like it warm? Some people like them cold. You can eat it cold or warm. It's good for breakfast. It's good for lunch. It's good for dinner. We're doing breakfasts today, breakfast for the New Year's Day. All right, and so I think we've got everything mixed in. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and add in our butter. And this is about 1/4 cup of melted butter. Okay, 1/4 cup of melted butter. we are gonna add 1 cup of buttermilk. Alrighty. We are gonna add 2 eggs that are slightly beaten. Okay, and we're gonna add, I think that's good. I want to get the last little bit of that butter in there. Okay, I'm gonna mix all of this in, and again, this is for our donuts. I'm gonna mix all this in. Looks like you all are almost there with the quiche. It's coming along. Alrighty. All right, we're gonna just mix all of this up here, and I think all the moisture has pretty much been mixed into the dough. So I'm gonna kind of take it out with my hands now. I believe you all are finished now, just leveling it off.
Just about.
Okay. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and remove some of these things and get the counter ready to roll out the donuts. All right. I'm going to get the counter ready to roll out the donuts. I will see you in just a minute. Tari and Kari are going to put the quiches in the oven, and we'll see you back. All right, one thing I forgot to add is we've got to add the vanilla to this recipe. All right, so don't fret, don't worry. If you didn't get it added in when everything was added in, you can add it in now. Not a problem. So I'm just going to kind of mix it up with my hands a little bit. Mix it up as best as possible. Okay, I don't know if you could see that, but I've got almost all of the moisture out. You see some little crumbly pieces. I'm just kind of turning that over to kind of incorporate these pieces back into the donut dough. Okay, I kind of swirl it around and kind of work it back into the center. Okay, we'll work that back into the center for the donut dough, and I'm gonna lay this out on our counter. I believe they're putting that in the oven at, is that 375?
375.
At 375. And I know those are going to come out amazingly. Don't forget, you can make them however you want. You can add onions to it. Whatever you like in your quiche, you can do. Okay, so I'm going to move this over. We'll clear that counter. And I'm going to add a little bit of flour to my counter. I'm going to divide this dough in half. This is for the donut dough. Now you can chill this dough if you like to chill the dough. All right. And I'm going to just kind of spread some of this flour around, put that in the center. So I'm going to put a little bit of flour on the rolling pin, all right? And I like this kind of rolling pin because it doesn't restrict you with handles. Sometimes when you're rolling with handles and you're going to roll something wide, it ends up kind of cutting it off. So with no handles, you can make it as wide as the rolling pin, okay? So we're going to roll it out to about half an inch thick, maybe. And it doesn't have to look perfect, just wide enough to cut with the donut cutters. Now, we've got some big donuts today, so I'm gonna go ahead and cut these donuts out. I think we can eat the donut holes too, so we'll do donuts and donut holes, okay? So we'll keep the holes, we'll put the holes on one side and the donuts on another, okay? We'll just keep cutting. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue to do this. I'm going to get these all done, and then I'll talk you through how we're supposed to fry these donut holes and donuts. Well, we got the donuts all rolled out, and we have very large donuts today and donut holes. What I did was I put canola oil here in my fryer. You don't have to use a specific fryer. You can use like a Dutch oven, or you can use a large pot and just put a little bit of oil in it, okay? We need the temperature to be at 375. So if you have a measuring tool like a thermometer that you can use to put in the oil to measure the oil, we want to make sure you do that. This one's pretty simple. We just turned it to 375. Now we're doing a donut here that's a buttermilk based donut, and we're going to make two different icings that you can put on top. Taria's gonna make a maple glaze, and then also we've got a chocolate glaze. The chocolate glaze are 3 simple ingredients, and you see the ingredients there and the amounts there on your screen. Actually, it's 2 ingredients. It's chocolate, and then it's also some heavy whipping cream. Then we've got the mixture that Taria's gonna make, which is our maple icing or maple glaze, and that calls for a maple extract, some milk or cream, and some powdered sugar. So while she's mixing that up, I'm gonna go ahead and start on these donuts. This oil is really hot, Kari, so I wanna make sure you get back. And so we've had it on 375, it's been warming up, and I'm literally just gonna drop the donuts in. And they're gonna cook for about 2 minutes. We'll drop a couple donut holes in there as well. Okay. And they're already floating to the top. They look good. They look good, and I imagine how good they're going to taste once we get done. You know, the thing I like about homemade donuts is they're not perfect, but they've got that, you know, that nice homemade kind of feel to them. They look great. I know they're going to taste great. So we're going to cook about 1.5 minutes on this side. You probably hear a little ticking. I've got a timer on there for the amount of time it's going to take, but look how, oh my gosh. Now you know how buttermilk donuts look. Look at that. You know how they split on the edges like that cake look. They look wonderful. I'll let them cook for about another 30 seconds and I'll flip them over. We don't want them too dark, just a nice golden brown. And then we'll go ahead and we'll start letting them drain on the paper towel. And then once they cool, we'll dip them in the chocolate or we'll dip them in that maple glaze. You can go ahead and start on that maple glaze while I'm working on these. Look at that donut. Lord help us. There's nothing like a good homemade donut. Okay. I'm turning the donut holes over as well. And you think that these are going to taste greasy, but they really aren't. They're going to taste really, really good. Look at, can you capture that? Look how it's kind of coming apart at the ends. Amazing. Amazing, amazing, amazing. We'll give it just a little more time. The buzzer went off. We'll give it another little bit of time. And we made just one recipe. These make, let's see, 8 large donuts, and then, you know, probably about 12 donut holes. So this one recipe makes 8 large ones. If you have a smaller donut hole cutter, you can make smaller donuts. The kids might want really small ones or something. But look how simple it is to make donuts. You know, you go to the store, you go to, you know, some of the main donut places, but here you are, you can make your own donuts, and you saw it didn't take that much time. Okay, I'm gonna mix all that in with that maple extract. You can add a little real maple syrup in there if you want to. Mix it all in and beat it till it's smooth. You may even need a wire whisk. All right, I am gonna get ready to take these donuts out. All right, I'm just gonna drain it. Kind of put this across the top here. I'm gonna drain this. Look at that, beautiful donut. Now this is the way you see a buttermilk donut when you're in the donut shop, right? Kind of cracked on the sides. We got a couple of donut holes here. Now, can you bake them? Yes, you can. You can bake donuts. That's a whole different recipe and a whole different show. But you can bake them. So here are our donuts. Okay. I didn't put a top on this, although you could put a top on it. I'm going to go ahead and slip the other 2 donuts in there. See how quickly these things cook? Very, very quickly. 1, 2, 3, and 4. All right, let those donuts cook, and they're mixing that all up. Why don't you get a spoon out and see how that tastes? Looks like, I don't know, does it need a little bit more? Go to the side and just put your finger there and taste it and tell me what you think. I don't know. Oops. What do you think? Does it need something?
Tastes like pure sugar.
Tastes like pure sugar? Well, it is pure sugar. It's glaze.
Yeah, let's see.
Yep. Let's let her try it. See what we think we need to it. Add to it.
Maybe a little more maple?
A little more maple? Okay. Now remember, when you're cooking, you could always add what you think you may need. You get a recipe, the recipe may be exactly what it needs to be for that person who made it, but you always can doctor it up and modify it to suit your own taste and what you need. Okay, I'm going to turn these donuts over, these donut holes over. These cook so quickly. Now I'm going to turn the donuts over. Okay, we're almost there. Those donuts look great. Look at that. That's a donut. That is a donut. Okay, we're almost finished with the donuts. We'll cook the last batch and we'll be right back and we'll glaze them in just a minute. Well, we're back, and while Tari and Kari are going to glaze the donuts with a little maple glaze, a little chocolate glaze, we'll leave some plain. We're doing our New Year's breakfast, and we're going to go ahead and make our chorizo hash browns. Okay, you can get chorizo that's got that's made with pork, chorizo made with beef, different types. So we're going to go ahead and take this to the stove. We're going to cook this and saute it down till it's all crumbled up. We're going to add some onions into that and let that cook. All right, so let me go to the stove and do that, and then we'll come back and we'll mix together our eggs and our flour with the potatoes, okay? So eggs and flour are going to go here. Let's do that first. Let's add the eggs, and let's add the flour. Now in here are potatoes, russet potatoes that I just kind of shredded up. You could use the food processor. We're going to mix this all together. Okay. I'm going to mix the flour, the eggs. We're making hash browns, but these hash browns have a little meat in them. And if you've ever had chorizo, it's great. It's got a nice little spice to it. You could use bacon, you could use ham, you could use turkey, whatever you want to add in it, but it needs to have a nice good flavor, because remember, hash browns, you know, by themselves don't really have a lot of flavor. You could add onions more than this if you'd like. I love onions, so if I did it again, I would probably do it with green onions and white onions. Okay, so we've got our eggs in, and we've got our flour in. Now we're going to go to the stove and we're going to cook the chorizo. All right, we're going to mix this chorizo up and just kind of cook it down till it's all cooked. We are going to drain it pretty soon, but just kind of mix it up, kind of push it down, cook it all together. I like to use a spatula on this non-stick pan. All right, so we're just going to cook it until it's totally cooked all the way through. I didn't add any oil to this. Just kind of let the natural oils that are in there kind of cook out. All right. Don't forget, we're going to cook this all together. We're going to strain it. Then we're going to take it over and we're going to mix it in our shredded potatoes. Okay. Once we do that, we're going to come back to the skillet here, and we're going to go ahead and cook them like we would hash browns. Probably make little potatoes like little pancakes, and we'll cook it. All right, make sure this is cooked all the way through. See how it's kind of starting to divide, and almost like ground beef, divide into little pieces. All right, so while that's cooking, I'll cook this up, add the onions to it, let the onions get translucent. We'll strain it, and I'll see you back at the kitchen counter. So we added the chorizo to the potato, egg, and flour mixture. That looks so good. Those are going to be some good hash browns. All right, you're going to mix all that chorizo in. Again, you can add any kind of meat that you want, but we'll mix all of that in really, really well. Okay, we're going to go ahead and get our pan hot, put a little bit of oil in it, and we're going to drop them in like little pancakes. So we're going to act like we're kind of cooking a pancake in there. Add a little bit of oil. Drop a little scoop of them in. Let's mix it kind of all around. Drop a little scoop. All right. We'll do that all in the pan in little areas. Like a little pancake. They don't have to be any kind of specific, you know, shape. Make some smaller, some larger. Okay. Add a little bit more oil, or just kind of move the oil around a little bit. We're going to cook those. We're going to cook those until the potato is cooked all the way through, and then we'll flip them over. All right, so we'll let these cook. Alrighty, well, just take a look and see if it's kind of in one big piece. Just flip it over. And flip it over just like you would a pancake or a burger. Let me see if I can get this one over here a little bit more. Remember, they're hash browns, and hash browns kind of fall apart sometimes, so that's okay. Cook them all the way through. That one kind of smashed, but that's okay. It's a hash brown. Just push it back down again. Reform it. Okay? Same thing with this one. This one's pretty much done. Got to cook the potato all the way through. And we're going to do this with the whole mixture all the way through. We got a little potatoes, and they're flavored so they're not bland. They've got the onions, a little bit of salt and pepper, and the chorizo. Well, I trust that you had a wonderful time in the kitchen today. Today we made some plain donuts, but we kind of spiced them up a little bit with a maple glaze. We put a little powdered sugar on the plain ones, and then also a chocolate glaze on those plain ones. Got a little bit of fruit, and then these are Cheryl's quiches. We call them Cheryl's quiches, and that's a spinach and broccoli quiche. And then we made the chorizo hash browns that were really good. Everybody says they taste like chili cheese fries. I don't know, but they taste really, really good. So this is just a fun New Year's Day breakfast that you can make. And again, if you are interested in the recipes and you weren't able to get everything down as you saw it on the screen, you can go to dwo.org. You can go on demand and download the video. You can also download the recipes, okay? So until next time, don't forget that everything we do in the kitchen, we always mix it with love. And as always, we wish you blessings of peace, power, purpose, and prosperity. In Jesus' name, amen.